Welcome to Chording with Christmas. This is piano video lessons, and today we're going to be learning Joy to the World. We're going to be playing it using a lead sheet, which has the melody written out and the chord symbols written above it. In your lesson package, which you can purchase here if you click the info card, there are two different versions of this sheet. One is the standard lead sheet with nice small notes, and the other one is this large note version with the letter names written inside of each of these notes, in case you're having a little bit of trouble still reading notes. If you want a note reading crash course, I've got one of those as well. Just click the info card and you can find out more about that. So to get started, we're going to play this at level 1, which is the most basic way that we can play this piece. We're going to play the right hand melody, and the left hand is going to play a letter represented by these chord symbols. So if you see the letter C, you'll play a C. If you see the letter D, you'll play a D. Ignore the M. If you see a G, you'll play a G. Ignore the 7, just for now. And so here we go. We're going to play Joy to the World with single notes in the left hand. So a C and another C, now a D, then a G, back to C. Now we have an F and a G and a C and a really long note. Here we go. Next line, C, C again, C again, and C again, and C again, and one more C. Now we can change. G, another G, then C, and C, and C with E in the right hand, then G, and C. So that's the most basic level that we can play this at. The next most basic level we can play is playing solid triads for each of these notes. So we're going to move our entire hand and play 3 notes every time we see a letter. So if we see a C, we'll play C, E, G. That's our C triad. And if you look, we have a chord reference sheet as well that helps you to plan the notes that you're going to need for any of these pieces of music. The last one that we learned was Christmas Tree. No, Deck the Halls. And it was lesson 3. Now in lesson 4, here are the chords that we need. So, C major, underneath, anytime we see the letter C. When we see G7, we're going to ignore the 7 for now, and we're just going to play a G triad, G major triad. So let's go ahead and try that. I'll go a little slower, playing the full note, the full chord, every time we see the letter. Oh, it's hard to talk and play. I'll stop talking. Now F, and then G, and then C. I can talk if it's exactly what I'm playing. And here we have a bunch of C triads. And then a G going down, otherwise it hits my right hand. So that was level 2A. Now level 2B is going to be taking those same chords and playing them in inversions or in voicings. So if we have a look here, we can see the Joy to the World chord voicings has C to D minor and back to C. That was in line 1. And then we have a G7 to C, and that's the way line 1 finishes. And then on line 2 we have an F chord. F chord to a G chord, and then a C chord. So basically what's happening here is we're playing a G7 chord, and if you look at your chord reference sheet, you can see that a G7 is actually 4 notes. It's a triad plus a 7th. So when we have this G7, we have an F. So when we play it in a simplified arrangement, if we move that G from the bottom and put it on the top, you notice it's right beside F. And then we just leave out the D. That's a standard reduction for the G7 chord. So here we have it going G7 to C to F. Now we've taken the FA, and instead of having the C way up here on the top, we're keeping it on the bottom where our hand is already located. Then we move to G, which is now G, B, D, with the D's on the bottom, and back to C. So if you're having any trouble with any of these chord terminologies, I recommend Unit 5, Lesson 1 and 3. Those are going to really solidify all the major and minor chords for you. And then the last part, C to G7 to C. So let's just keep those in mind and go ahead and play through these chords in inversions and voicings. So we're starting here. Now we're going to actually hop up and back, but then here's your G7, very little moving there, and then for F, A and C, F, A and C, and then we just moved up one note and relaxing back into our triad position. Now this part is all the same. I'm just going faster. Now here's your G7, and then C triad, C to G7 to C. So that's a little bit ramped up version of playing with the chords in sort of still their basic form, but instead of playing them all in root position where our hand has to move every time, we're just playing them in inversions so that we don't have to go as far when we're reaching. So now on to level 3 for Joy to the World, and level 3 involves playing these chords in different arrangement patterns. So we've talked about this before, and I'm going to make a reference video that helps you reference all of these in one little spot. But basically, we have all these options for what we can do with those 3 little notes from the chord. So we can play C, E, and G, or we can play it more than once, but we can also break it down. So here I've just got C and G, but no E, but it's still nice and still part of the C major chord, so we can do that. Now we can do the top, bottom, top, and middle and top. So for any chord we're playing, we could do that for F, we could do that for D minor. Just take the 3 notes, play bottom, top, middle, top. And then here we have the bottom, the top, then an octave down and up. So it's a C, G, G, G. And then we could make it simple again. We could just play an octave, just 2 Cs. One on the bottom, one on the top. Then we can also do a 1-5-8 pattern where we play the bottom note, the 5th note, and the top note. Bottom, 5th, and top. Then we can have C, G, C, E. So I didn't play the E down here, but I played it on the top. That's a really pretty one. Gives you on a long note, like the long hold at the bottom of page 1. We might try that one. And then we've got some jazzy things that we could do here. That one's fun. It's got a B flat in it. We got a little walking bass. We did this one in Jingle Bells. And then we have some chord patterns that are good for using in 3/4 time, which we are not playing in for this particular piece. So let's see, what do we want to do? Joy to the World. Which one have we not used? Let's see. Let's try this one here. So let's see how it goes. And then for just this D, we play the single note. Then we go to F and G and C. So I just brought that up. I don't know, that one sounds a little clunky to me. Let's just try full octaves. Sounds very triumphant. Now in the G7, I didn't just play the octave because that would be a G major. I closed it up and played that F because we know that the 4th note in the G7 chord is an F. So let's try that. I'm going to add some pedal. I clear my pedal every time I play a left-hand note. Now I'm on the next part. Okay, I'm on the next page and my sheet is in the way. G7. Okay. What if I did this one the whole time? And then just throw a D in there. to play, that is. It's always nice on cadences to keep those in their voiced position. So let's do that. And then open and open and... So I just changed the location of my C chord just for interest. There is my 7. So there you go. All right, I'm going to go ahead and play it through one more time, and I'd love for you to come back in the next lesson where we're actually going to address this piece again from a different key perspective. So instead of playing in the key of C, we're going to play it in the key of G.